Today we're going to talk about another skill that's really important for you to use. And what I'm going to get you to do, and I don't know whether you're going to do this or not, I hope you do. What I'd like you to do is pause the video after you listen to what I have to say and then come back to me. So I'm going to suggest that you go on to Google and Google various people. You could Google a favorite actor, you could Google a politician, you could Google, some icon. And I'm going to get you to Google images of these people and just look at the images that come across or that you come across. And what I'd like you to think about is when you see some of these images, do you like, trust and respect that person based on that image, or are you less likely to trust, respect and like that person based on that image that you see? So I'd like you to go and do that now. Go and look at some 3 or 4 people and half a dozen images of those 3 or 4 people. Get an impression as to why you do or don't like them, and then come back to me and we'll go into this in a little bit more depth, and I'll explain some of the things that may have come out for you. Okay, welcome back. I hope you've just done that little exercise. So what we're talking about today is fronting, and essentially people who front us, who look straight at us. So that's straight on, top, torso and toes, all pointed to you, means in your mind, means to your body that that person is respecting you. So when you went and Googled these people that I asked you to Google, if these people were looking at you front on, or maybe their head was slightly turned but they were still looking at you, you are much more likely to like them, trust them and respect them. However, if they were like this, looking away from you, then you were less likely to trust them, like them and respect them. So there are some classic pictures of politicians on the internet, and when people are taking images of these politicians, they're trying to portray them in either a good light or a bad light, depending on what that writer, that author, that photographer, what image he's trying to create about that politician. So in where they like what the politician's doing and they like what he said, etc., they'll have a full frontal image, maybe side on, but still looking at the camera. And that then gives the reader will then trust and like and respect that politician. Whereas if the writer or the photographer doesn't want to portray that politician in a good light, then they're going to have the politician, looking elsewhere or looking sideways or looking up and not facing the camera directly. This fronting is a really powerful thing to be aware of. So fronting means top, torso, toes, all pointing at the most important person in the room, who is you. So if you're talking to 2 or 3 or 4 people, then as someone is talking, you'd front them, you'd front them, you'd front them, etc. And you would slightly rotate your head and your torso and your toes to that next person and that next person. And in a meeting around a table where you're all sitting down, you can do that as well. It's obviously very much easier in a swivel chair than in a fixed chair, but it can be done whether you're in a swivel chair or a fixed chair. And I'm really going to, politely insist that you start fronting when you are meeting with people and having discussions with people, because your credibility, your likedness, your trustworthiness and your respectedness will improve dramatically in that other person's eyes when you front them. Let me go a little bit deeper on this. Now that you know the power of fronting, what I'm going to suggest that you do is look at your Facebook image or picture if you have a Facebook, private Facebook page, and LinkedIn as well. In a LinkedIn photo where this is a professional business environment where you're trying to create relationships, it's really important that you front and have a good frontal image on that on your LinkedIn site. Facebook may be not as important if you're not using it for business. However, let's go sideways quite dramatically. If you're dating, for example, and your Facebook image and your Facebook site is part of your dating profile, etc., then absolutely you should have a good frontal image on that site, on Facebook. And if you're using a dating site, exactly the same thing applies. It'll really improve your ability to get a date. So there's a personal and business reasons for fronting and having good frontal images. One last thing, I could go on about this for quite a while. I'm not going to. I just want to throw one last thing into the mix. When you're at a party and you're fronting someone, typically our toes point at the most important thing in the room. And so you may be fronting with your head, your top and your torso, and your toes may be pointing at the bathroom. The person that you're talking with at some level will notice your toes pointing at the bathroom, or your toes pointing to the bar, or your toes pointing to the food table. So it's really important when you're communicating with someone at a networking event that you be aware of your top, your torso and your toes, and you pay them respect and you pay that person that you're communicating with attention by fronting correctly and also being aware of where your toes are pointing. So a bit of a longer video today, few extra tips and strategies and clues for you to implement in the next couple of weeks. I look forward to catching up with you on the next video. Bye.